Are you brave enough to uncover the secrets of an ancient mirror? Rain lashed against the windows, thunder rattled the old house. Inside, Anna unpacked boxes, her only light a flickering bulb overhead. She unwrapped an ornate silver-framed mirror. It was beautiful, yet unsettling. Its surface seemed to breathe, its reflection oddly distorted. A shiver ran down Anna's spine. This was no ordinary mirror. Days turned into weeks. Anna found herself drawn to the mirror. Its presence was captivating, hypnotic. She placed it in her bedroom, admiring its intricate frame. The strange distortions remained, but Anna dismissed them. She felt an odd connection to the mirror, a sense of intimacy. It was as if it held secrets waiting to be revealed. Anna had always been fascinated by antiques, but this mirror was different. It seemed to call out to her, whispering in a language only she could understand. Each morning she would wake up, and the first thing she would do was look into the mirror. The reflections were never quite right, always slightly off, as if the mirror was showing her a different version of reality. She began to notice small changes in her reflection. At first, it was subtle, a flicker of movement that shouldn't be there, a shadow that seemed out of place. But as time went on, the changes became more pronounced. Her reflection would smile when she wasn't smiling, or frown when she was happy. It was unsettling, but also strangely comforting. Anna started to spend more time in front of the mirror, almost as if she was trying to communicate with it. She would talk to her reflection, asking it questions, seeking answers. The mirror never responded, but she felt a sense of companionship, as if it was listening. One night, as she was getting ready for bed, she noticed something new. Her reflection was holding an object that she didn't recognize. It was a small, ornate box, intricately carved and beautiful. She reached out to touch it, but her hand met only the cold surface of the mirror. The box was not in her room, only in the reflection. This discovery left her both intrigued and unsettled, wondering what other secrets the mirror might hold. One evening, as Anna brushed her hair, she noticed something in the mirror. A face, pale and gaunt, stared back at her from behind her reflection. She whirled around, heart pounding. The room was empty. Shaking, she attributed it to fatigue. But deep down, a seed of doubt had been planted. The face had felt chillingly real. Anna tried to shake off the unsettling feeling, convincing herself it was just her imagination playing tricks on her. She took a deep breath and resumed brushing her hair, but the image of the face lingered in her mind. She couldn't help but glance back at the mirror every few seconds, half expecting to see the ghostly visage again. Days passed, and Anna found herself avoiding mirrors altogether. She couldn't explain why, but the memory of that night haunted her. She started to feel a constant sense of being watched, even when she was alone. The once comforting solitude of her home now felt oppressive and eerie. One night, as she lay in bed, she heard a faint whisper. It was so soft that she thought she might have imagined it, but then it came again, clearer this time. Anna? Her heart raced as she sat up, scanning the dark room. There was no one there, but the whisper continued, sending chills down her spine. Determined to get to the bottom of this, Anna decided to do some research. She spent hours poring over old books and online forums, looking for any mention of ghostly apparitions in mirrors. She discovered countless stories of spirits trapped between worlds, using mirrors as a gateway to reach the living. The more she read, the more convinced she became that what she saw was real. Anna knew she had to confront whatever was haunting her. She couldn't live in fear any longer. Gathering her courage, she stood in front of the mirror once more, staring into her own reflection, waiting for the face to appear again. The incidents escalated. Whispers followed Anna around the house, emanating from the mirror even when she was alone. She saw fleeting shadows within its depths, felt icy fingers brush against her skin. Fear gnawed at her sanity. Sleep offered no escape. Nightmares plagued her, filled with the mirror's reflection, twisted and sinister. Desperate, Anna confided in her friend, David. Skeptical at first, David became convinced by the terror in Anna's eyes. He researched the mirror, uncovering its dark history. It had belonged to a powerful sorcerer who used it as a conduit for dark magic. The sorcerer had been imprisoned, but the mirror remained a vessel of trapped evil. Armed with ancient texts, they planned a ritual to destroy the mirror. They gathered in Anna's room, the air thick with incense and fear. As David began the incantation, the mirror pulsed with an eerie light. The whispers intensified, morphing into screams. The air grew frigid. Anna felt a presence behind her, cold and menacing. Suddenly, the mirror shattered. The sound was deafening, echoing through the room like a thunderclap. Shards of glass flew in every direction, catching the dim light and creating a dazzling yet terrifying display. It was as if the mirror had exploded from within, releasing all the dark energy it had been holding back for so long. David cried out, a shard of glass embedded in his chest. He collapsed, lifeless. Anna stared in horror. The room seemed to close in around her, the walls pressing in as if to suffocate her. She could hardly breathe, her mind racing to comprehend the sudden violence. The air was thick with the metallic scent of blood, mingling with the musty odour of the old house. The menacing presence was gone, but her relief was short-lived. The shadowy figure that had haunted them for weeks had vanished, leaving behind an eerie silence. But Anna knew better than to trust this calm. The house itself seemed to be holding its breath, waiting for the next act in this macabre play. She could feel the weight of unseen eyes watching her every move. As she looked down at David, she saw her reflection in the blood pooling beneath him. The crimson liquid mirrored her face, but it was not her own. The eyes staring back at her were filled with malice, a twisted grin playing on her lips. It was as if the blood had become a new mirror, showing her a version of herself she had never known. Her face was distorted, her eyes glowing with an evil light. The reflection seemed to mock her, a cruel reminder of the curse that had plagued them. She felt a chill run down her spine, her hands trembling as she tried to look away. But the image held her captive, drawing her deeper into its malevolent gaze. It was as if the mirror's curse had transferred to the blood, binding her to its dark will. The mirror was gone, but its curse had found a new home. The empty frame on the wall was a stark reminder of the horror that had unfolded. The room, once filled with the mirror's dark energy, now felt hollow and lifeless. But Anna knew that the curse was far from over. It had merely shifted, finding a new vessel in the blood that now stained the floor. The house was still haunted, and the nightmare was far from over.